Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wilds coming live to you from Houston, Texas with his inspirational morning talk. For first-time listeners, I'm on Mondays, 8:45 a.m. That's our time here in Houston. But yes, I just kind of give something inspirational to start the day. Because we're going to encounter so much negativity throughout the day. Just give you something inspirational to keep on your mind, to help combat those stuff you're going to encounter during the day. But today I want to talk about it. It's when God redirect you, or when He give you instructions to move. What do you do? What do you do when He give you instructions to move? This story here, it got a lot of little nuggets. I can shed some lights on some other parts too. But this is 1 Kings 17, 1 through 16. I'm going to read pretty much 1 Kings 17, 1 through 16. This is the story of Elijah, right? This is King Ahab. King Ahab was one of the most wicked king in Israel. They say he do more evil in the eyes of the Lord before any other king before his time. And then there's when he went to marry Jezebel, right? Remember, he went Jezebel and make it worse. Good morning, Jillian. Good morning. So he married Jezebel and even make it worse, right? He started worshiping the Baal God and all of that kind of stuff. So he was so wicked. So God, in a punishment to him, sent Elijah to give him this message, right? So that's where we can start off from 1 Kings 17, 1 through 16. So now Elijah, who was from Tishbe in Gilead, told King Ahab, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew nor rain during the next few years until I give the word. So God saying, Elijah going to tell this man, in a punishment for him being so wicked, following other gods, not following me, I'm going to cause a drought on this land. In other words, I'm going to bring drought to this land and a punishment for you as because of how you wicked, right? So then the Lord said to Elijah, go to the east and hide by Kerith Brook, near where it enters the Jordan River. Drink from the brook and eat what the ravens bring you, for I commanded them to bring food for you. First thing, and this is what I want to focus on this story here, right? God gave Elijah, he sent him to give this message to the king, number one. And number one here, this is a good example how when your leaders are wicked, right? You got wicked. Marcy Wells, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? So this is a good example here. When you got wicked leaders, how the whole land can be punished because of the wickedness they're doing, right? So first of all, he was wicked and God bringing a drought on this land, right? Then he tell Elisha, give the message. But what I want to focus on Elisha, tell Elisha to go. He give him some instructions what to do, right? He gave him instructions what to do. Then the Lord said to Elisha, go to the east and hide by Kerith Brook, near where it enters the Jordan River. Drink from the brook and eat what the ravens bring you, for I've commanded them to feed you. So he said Elijah, okay, drought coming. You go by the brook river, drink from the river. Don't worry where you're going to eat. I got these birds going to bring food for you, right? How much times God give us instructions, but we don't see a way, and we like, nah, maybe it's not God I'm hearing from, right? It's not him I'm hearing from, because I ain't see no way. You telling me go God by this river in the wilderness, and you gonna bring some ravens? What if somebody shoot the raven? What if, right? And he's saying, no, I got you. Because the thing is, whenever he asks us to do something, he's gonna provide. He's going to provide, right? He's going to provide when he asks you to do something, right? So he given the instructions. This is faith. He got to go and depend on some birds to bring food. But the moral of this story is God's going to bring the help from you from different areas that you never even expect or could even think about when he gives you something to do, right? So let's go on and see. So Elijah did as the Lord told him and camped beside Kerith Brook, east of the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat each morning. Remember, this is the NLT translation, so if you're reading a different one, it might say the ravens feed him or whatever the case may be. But they went down and said, brought him bread and meat. each morning and evening. And he drank from the brook. That after a while the brook dried up, for there was no rainfall anywhere in the land. Remember, it's a drought that he prophesied and tell king that gonna happen. So after a while the brook dried up, no more water in the brook, right? So sometimes, guys, God can send us a place and then supply is going to dry up. Supply is going to dry up. And then he can give you further instructions of what to do because he's still in charge. But a lot of time we panic. And I can remember my own experience with this, right? On my job, really good job. My boss loved me. I was the best thing. And all of a sudden, to me, never knew the reason why. All of a sudden, he just turned. He just turned on me, and I was the worst thing in his sight, and he was just trying everything he can possibly do to fire me. To me, it was a surprise, like, what happened? I keep telling him, what happened? I'm the same person. What changed? My performance is still the same, and what's going on? I couldn't understand it, right? But supplies dried up for me, and I was supposed to move on, and he put it in my heart to go off and do my own business, but just like in Elijah's case, the ravens had to feed me because I didn't see no way. My business was no stage to handle, to take care of my family. But he was saying, you go, I'll get the ravens to feed you. Don't worry. The ravens is going to feed you. But long story short, I didn't listen right away. I took a year. I took a year before I followed what he was telling me. So I'm telling people here, don't jump off and do stuff crazily. You know deep down in your heart when God asks you to do something. You know deep down in your heart when he asks you to do something. You can't sleep. You can't, every time there's stuff on you, you know what you need to do. But that fear of the unknown is what's stopping you. I'm not just telling people to just go and do stuff crazily. You know when God asks you to do something, you know you got to burn and desire in your heart. You know it keep bothering you. It's there. It's not going away. But you, just in this case, you're probably like, I don't know. I don't know if this was God I'm hearing from here or not, right? But God's saying, once I put it on your heart, I'm going to take care of you. Even I got to bring birds to feed you. Like we do in the case of Elisha, I can do it. But when I give you the instructions to move on and do what I need to do what you need to do, you got to listen, right? So the brook dried up, it's drought. But after a while, the brook dried up. There was no rainfall anywhere in the land. So here what God instructed him now to do. Then the Lord said to Elijah, go and live in the village of Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you. Now this is just faith. Now you go. I instructed a widow there to feed you. Right? Feed you. Normally with a widow is someone, they don't really have a lot of resources. A widow, because the man used to do most of the work in the family and all of that. So the widow, normally a widow usually don't have a lot of resources, right? Well, you say, go, I can instruct a widow to feed you. So Elijah got to be obedient and going in faith. What if I don't see this widow, God? What if this widow, is not there where you telling me she's going to be, and that's a lot of stuff we do, right? We use a lot of what if, because the enemy put what ifs in our mind. What if, right? But God tell him to move on. God keep directing his path, but he got to be obedient and do what God tell him to. But, right? So let's see, we'll go on the story. So when he went to Zarephath, as he arrived at the gates of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks. And he asked her, would you please bring me a little water in a cup? As she was going to get it, he called out to her, bring me a bite of bread too. Right? He asked her for some water. Remember, this is drought. Right? Remember, it's a drought in the land. And you're going to ask a strange woman for a cup of water. This is drought. Drought. Water is gold. Right? Water and food, because without the rain, the crops can't grow and all that. And you asking somebody for something to eat. Right? So here how she responded now. Right? Remember, this is all about obedience, right? It's all about obedience. Remember, God already put it on our heart. Remember we told Elijah, go there. I've instructed this widow to feed you. So he done put it on our heart already. This person who gonna come and ask you for something, I need you to give it to them, regardless if it's your last. I know how things hard. I caused this drought. Right? And this man gonna come and ask you, don't put it on your heart. You hook him up, Right? So let's see. But she said, I swear by the Lord your God that I don't have a single piece of bread in the house. And I have only a handful of flour left in the jar and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jar. I was just going to gather a few sticks to cook this meal and cook the last meal, and then me and my son will die. She said, man, Elijah, I got the last. I ain't got nothing. A little bit of flour. I'm going to make my last meal and we're going to die. Because we ain't got nothing more. Nothing more. How much people like that? You don't got no more resources right now. No more resources right now. And then on top of that, somebody asking you for something. You don't got nothing. It's your last meal, you're going to die. And there, this man asking you for something. What's most people's reaction? I ain't got for myself, so I ain't going to give you nothing. I ain't got for myself, right? But sometimes you could be missing out on your blessings right there. Sometimes you could be missing out on your blessings. If God put it on your heart to do something, even if you don't have it, you be obedient to him and tell him, yes, I'll do it. And he can provide it. He can provide it, right? So let's go on here and see. But she said, I swear by the Lord, you read that. But Elijah said to her, don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you have said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. There will always be flour and oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord send rain and the crops grow again. So he's saying, go and make the last meal, but give me peace first, and then you and your son take what left. Because God said, you do that. You share your last with me. He put it on your heart to give me a meal. And because you do that, he can cause your cabinet gonna never be out of food in a nutshell. That's what he's saying. You give to me because God put it on your heart to do it. And your cabinet can never be out of food, even though the economy is in recession, right? This is how we're talking about giving to the poor. When God tell you give to the poor, you'll never lack. This bringing this out there. You give to the poor, you're going to never lack. There's an old man here. You got your lots. God say, hey, I don't put it on your heart. When this man come and ask you for something, you give it to him. And you know what? He didn't tell her nothing, He didn't tell her what's going to happen there, because that's not what he wants. He just wants us to be obedient, and then the blessings can come. But when she agreed to do that, then he said, this is what God said. There always be flour and oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord send rain and crops again. So I'm saying again, this is a spin-off of what we're talking about there, about giving to the poor, right? He said, this when you say you give to the poor, you will never lack. That's what he's saying. So this old lady here, this widow, she gave him, and here was the result. So she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and oil left in the container, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah, right? But another part I want to point out here, right? This widow was blessed because of Elijah, right? Now, if Elijah didn't move when God tell him to move, and he questioned and do the what ifs like what we do, man, I know this is easier said than done. It takes a lot. I was there, and it took me a year, right? And I learned from that, so I tried to move a little faster now when God put something on my heart to try to move faster now. But it took me a year, and in that year that I took, I go through a lot of stress, a lot of hell. I go through torment for a year. I was tormented because I didn't move when he told me to move, right? But the point is, when if Elijah didn't move, this widow may not have been blessed. That's what I was saying. When God put something on our heart to do, it's a connection for someone else. Someone else is waiting for us to bless them through him, right? That's a connection. Likewise, when God tells somebody else to move, that's the connection you waiting on also. That's why this stuff is a whole chain reaction. That's why we got to be obedient, even though we don't see it. When he put it on our heart to do, He got a project for you to do. He got whatever for you to do. You don't have the money. You don't have nothing. He's saying, just go ahead. You go ahead. I can feed it. I can support it. I'm going to supply it. Because lots of times he wants the glory out of it. He wants the glory out of it. He wants the glory. So you're going to know the end of it is only God. How much time we say that when people confess? It's only by the grace of God this get done. And that's what he wants. That's what he wants, right? So this story here got a lot of little nuggets we can draw from it. First is obedience right through. Obedience, he tell Elijah what to do. Then obedient, this one was obedient because he put on her heart, even though her situation, he said, give Elijah whatever he asked for. Give him from what little you have. Right? It's just obedience. That's the bottom line. Obedience. When he puts something on your heart, he got a way. He's not going to ask you to do something if you don't have a way for you to do it. Right? He's not going to put something in your heart to do if you don't have a way for you to do it. You're not going to see the way because he didn't reveal in all his plans all the way through right here. He didn't reveal in all his plans. But because these people move in obedience, they get the blessings. Right? So I'm saying to somebody, even myself, move when God asks you to move, right? Move and do what he asks you to do. And he's going to provide the way. Even as scary as it looks, and the enemy going to make you think there's no way. You're not hearing from God. This is not God. You're not hearing from him because he can never send you in the desert where you don't got no food, you don't got no job, you don't got nothing there. He's not going to send you there. But God said them birds can bring food for you. You got a river right there. I can take care of you. When the next step comes and when the resources dry up, I can tell you where to go and how to move, and you just follow me and you're good. All right, guys, I can leave that there. I can leave it there, but we can talk again on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk again on Monday. Okay, bye.